There will be no removal of masks to consume alcohol outdoors. So you will no longer be able to remove your mask to drink a cocktail at a pop-up beer garden on a footpath as part of a pub crawl.
Yep, that's right, you unsophisticated slave peasant hoe. You better do as we tell you. Don't even dare lift your face diaper off of your face to consume your fluoridated beverage, or you'll face the full might of the police state at your door. You know, he could have just said that. It would have been way more honest. Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings. This is Luke Rudowski of WeAreChange.org. Lots of absolutely absurd news to get into, especially with a new lockdown in New Zealand because of one case. There's even more absolute insanity coming from Australia, which looks like it's literally returning to being just a full-on prison colony again, as you won't believe the restrictions that they're placing on people that they keep ever so expanding, as of course the United States looks to replicate what is happening in those countries, as it's announcing the need for a third procedure that you're going to have to take in order just to be able to move around. Yeah, lots of insanity. Let's just get into it, as of course we reported to you yesterday that Chinese government state-run propaganda media outlets are running with the line that the people of Taiwan are screwed because not if, but when China invades, the United States will abandon them like they are abandoning the people of Afghanistan. This, of course, is major geopolitical news, with the American foreign policy initiatives failing once again and U.S. hegemony being openly threatened by countries like China. As of course here in the United States, the establishment is telling people about how to abolish the family unit and going after and prosecuting people who literally walked into the Capitol and sung the Star-Spangled Banner. What else is the U.S. establishment really good at? Oh yeah, lying to you as they siphon off trillions of dollars to the military-industrial complex, as we have epic failures of mass proportion that create huge human suffering, all of course brought on by failed leadership, not just by Biden, but of course by Trump, by Obama, and George W. Bush, that started the conflict in Afghanistan. Surprisingly, Biden, in somewhat of a coherent speech, announced that the, quote, buck stops with him, and then literally proceeded to blame Trump and local Afghans for leading to the chaos that has been unfolding there right now. Biden also announced $500 million in aid to refugees, as U.S. military airplanes are used to transport hundreds of random, predominantly males from Afghanistan, while of course thousands of American citizens are still trapped in Afghanistan, as there's still an estimated 10,000 U.S. citizens in that country, as the U.S. State Department tells them to, quote, shelter in place, as we're getting reports of the Taliban controlling all ports of entry into the Kabul airport, leading U.S. forces to negotiate who gets through and who does not. Now, the number of Americans stranded is still unknown, as of course previously some news organizations like the Washington Post are reporting 10,000 people, while of course Bush's Assistant Secretary of State Robert Charles is saying that there's between 15 to 40,000 Americans stranded in Afghanistan right now. The number is still unknown, but it is clear that this is an utter mess, as we're getting other reports saying that the military advice on how to carry out this evacuation was not listened to, which goes along with the theory that we talked about yesterday on LukeUncensored.com about how a lot of this could be potentially done on purpose. And if you look at the larger ramifications, this definitely points to a recipe of disaster that works towards the benefit of the establishment class. And it is absolutely duplicitous and hypocritical to see a government that's been trying to disarm average, innocent, law-abiding American citizens, while, of course, arming the Taliban in ways that they would have never imagined. Now, a lot of people are upset about what's happening right now, but they should have been upset for a very long time. The human suffering in Afghanistan didn't just begin a few days ago. It's been ongoing for 20 years. It has created a situation that has led up to this very moment where the Taliban are literally welcomed in to the capital of that country. There was numerous civilian casualties, while governments were declaring victories over hearts and minds of the people that they were randomly bombing. And now, after this government has utterly failed us, it's important to understand that they're now seeking their sights on more control and more power to rule over your existence here in the United States, as the Biden administration just announced the need for a third procedure that, of course, we are going to be discussing in full detail, all on LukeUncensored.com later on today. The video will be out there, and sadly, we will be getting into issues that we cannot openly discuss here. This new full frontal assault by Dr. Fauci and the Biden administration against your personal sovereignty and liberty over your dominion and body is something worth having an honest conversation about, but sadly, we can only do it right now on LukeUncensored.com. I hope to see you there later on today. And let's be honest here, when we have doctors, medical professionals, scientists, politicians, U.S. senators, and experts in particular fields being censored, that is absolutely a ridiculous situation that we are in. As almost ridiculous as the people of New Zealand, that some people said are involved in their own kind of experiment, seeing how far government could push their control over its citizenry, as the government there just announced that they are extending and creating a new, quote, snap lockdown of the country, stopping all forms of normal life because of one positive test result for a 58-year-old man from Auckland. Yes, one person came down with a positive test, and because of that, the government of New Zealand has administered a very strict lockdown that basically stops all forms of normal life. As the Prime Minister announced her go hard, go early strategy, implementing the toughest level 4 lockdown. The Prime Minister of that country that has announced this is also close friends to Bill Gates, and she is also demanding that citizens of New Zealand do not talk to each other's neighbors, which of course is very similar rhetoric that we heard from Australian bureaucrats that demanded that the people of Australia don't communicate with each other. And you know, the ruining of people's business, financial, personal relations is all worth it for allegedly everyone's health because one 58-year-old dude tested positive. I can't wait until the government of New Zealand finds out about fast food and its larger health effects on the population. Since, of course, if the government really cares about your health, it would be addressing diabetes, strokes, heart attacks, and other illnesses that are dramatically increased through fast food. Why isn't the government stopping people from chomping down on murder burgers? Why isn't the government going after the sugar industry or the chemical industry if they're making such egregious efforts for allegedly our health? Again, a lot of this is ridiculous. A lot of this has been tested in Australia, where the government there knowingly brags about stopping people, finding them, punishing them for literally going on car drives for fresh air. Yes, we're at a point right now where the police are literally bragging about stopping and detaining people because they wanted fresh air. And the absurdity doesn't stop there, especially in Australia, where, as you saw from the beginning of this video, bureaucratic fat cat politicians are literally banning people from removing their masks in order to have a drink. Yes, specifically. This is the exact insanity that we're delving into with this detail that has been retroactively added without any approval, without any vote, but just a government officials mandating that you can no longer remove your face mask in order to drink. All of this as there are extremely high fines for breaking one of the hundreds of made-up laws and decrees in that country, including, quote, lying to government officials, contact tracers, as the government routinely lies to everyone else. They're also mandating now in Melbourne, in Australia, that you could only work out with one person, and now not with the entire household, even though you live together with each other. As of course, most places in Australia have visible QR codes that you need to scan into in order just to be able to enter them. A system that, of course, tracks, traces, and databases you, just like the social credit score in China. And if you're saying this kind of ridiculousness, this kind of nonsense can't come to the United States, this type of ninnying, micromanagement, and control of our existence, literally telling people that they can only exercise with one person inside of their entire household, this no way can come to the United States. Well, it's coming to New York City, as just moments from now, New York City will be implementing. It's absolutely discriminatory, apartheid-like mandatory domestic passport system where you will need to jump through government bureaucratic DMV hoops. You will have your papers checked if you want to enter grocery stores with indoor dining, bakeries, coffee shops, restaurants, event spaces, hotels, bowling alleys, arcades, casinos, almost every form of existence right now. The local government of New York City is trying to implement a system where literally your obedience to the state will have to be checked at the door, or you will have brutish government thugs punishing you however severely they choose to do so. Now compare what's happening to New Zealand, Australia, New York City, to Sweden, that has 0 deaths, extremely low cases. You look at the approach that Sweden took, and then make up your own mind what is right for humanity. Again, what's happening right now is utterly insane. There's no way anyone could convince me that this is for someone's health. If we cared about health, we would have been doing so many things different in our mainline society, and we're not. We're truly entering a very worrying time. Please take care of yourself. Please do your own research. Please make up your own mind. And if you agreed with anything I said, spread this message. It's the small actions that a large number of individuals could take that could actually make the biggest amount of difference here, and it begins with you deciding to take action. Sharing this video means a lot to us. Double-click the URL. Even send it to a random person that you don't even know. Doesn't matter. It still absolutely helps us, and because of that, I'm still able to be here. I got a lot more to say. I'm going to be saying it specifically on LukeUncensored.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on WeAreChange.org.